Do you ever feel stuck in the rat race? Life doesn't have to be that way if you're willing to put in the work. In Bigger Vision, Chris Garrison helps you discover the keys to abundance, freedom, and personal growth that let you live the life of your dreams. And now, here's your host, Chris Garrison.
Do you desire it enough? Are you going to change to get change? These are questions you should be asking yourself. We're at the end of 2022, December the 18th today as I'm recording this. You'll hear this launch 8 days from now. And we're right there at the end of 2022. And my question is, what are you doing to prepare for 2023? What are you doing to prepare for the now? So many people never achieve their dreams, their desires, their passions because of lack of preparation. And there's many things that we could talk about in preparation, but I'm going to hit the main things that have really changed my life, my trajectory, financially, spiritually, mentally. Because what I found out is if you start to increase one portion of your life, then the other portions of your life start to increase as well. And that one thing that you increase that affects everything else is going to be yourself, your mental fortitude. So I started with making sure that I believed in me. My question is, do you believe in you? Because the majority of the time I found that we lack belief in ourselves. That's the reason we never execute. That's the reason we never take a step towards our dreams and our goals, because fear stops us in the moment. It keeps us from acting because we don't believe in ourselves, because we have not racked up enough small wins to build this confidence that we can actually achieve something. And most of the time, what we want is just based off of feelings, emotions. There's really no data. There's really no thought that's been put into it. Like, you might say, I want to be a billionaire. Well, what does that actually mean? Because there's a lot to becoming a billionaire. Like, what does your life look like? Are you stuck working 80-hour weeks in the office, running multiple business, stressed out, family dying because you're never around, because when you are around, you're so unpresent because you're focused on what was generating this billion? Or does your life look like you're overseeing multiple teams? You've got a percentage of many companies that's all cash flowing and bringing in this money that's acquiring, that's allowing you to become that billionaire. You have assets over here that's being managed by other teams. Like, how does this lifestyle look for you? And this is what I mean. So many times we sit here and paint these pictures of this is what I want. I want the fancy house. I want the nice car. I want to be able to do what I want. I want to own my own business. Well, how does that lifestyle look? Because the reality of it is most of the time we jump into things and never have a plan in action. And you don't have to have a perfect plan. I'm talking about imperfect action is the best way to move forward, because you will never have it perfected until you're in the middle of it. But we can definitely mitigate some of the pitfalls by educating ourselves, by getting around the right people that are doing the things we want to be doing, so that we can hear their story. We can ask those questions. How did you get here? What did that look like on a daily basis? How did you like it once you achieved it? What is the pitfall that you had to get over, that hurdle that you had to get over as you were walking and moving down this path? See, a lot of times we don't even ask the right questions because we don't know the right questions to ask. You can ask questions that really aren't good. There are some questions that are better than others. And we need to know what questions to be asking. And you don't know until you start feeding your mind and gathering information so that you'll understand what questions you actually should have. So at this time in the year, I typically sit back and I look and see, what did my life look like the past 12 months? What did I like about it? What was working and what was not working? What needs changing and what needs to stay and just be enhanced maybe? How did I enjoy this past year? Was I stressed? Did I have time with family? Did I have time enjoying things that I like to do? Did I actually enjoy my work? I do believe that you are not supposed to be in some boring business because you will be burnt. You will burn out too quickly. It needs to be something that excites you. I was just having a conversation with my dad 2 days ago, and he helps me on the real estate side as far as finding deals because I'm over here building this empire with my disaster cleanup, and I've also got leads coming in on my real estate. And he comes in, kind of acts like a wholesaler to me on a level. He enjoys the hunt of bargains. Like that is where he gets his excitement, is hunting down those great deals. So he reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've got this foreclosure coming up for sale. I've not been by the house. It's near your place of work. Are you at work? Is it something you can drive by?" And I said, "Actually, I'm headed to the dentist." And he said, "Well, it's being auctioned off today. You've got 30 minutes and then it's going to be roughly ready to be auctioned off." So I went to the dentist. Took me about 20 minutes. And then I left and thought, okay, let me ride by. So I cruised by it and I assessed where I was with that house financially, what my max payment was going to be just by a drive by. So I called him up and said, "I like it. I like the spot. I like the bones of the structure. Doesn't look like we've got a lot going on the exterior. The interior, I don't know because this is a foreclosure and I wasn't able to enter it. So I just had to guess based off my experience from prior rehabs and purchasing houses and what just kind of the common thing was." So we assessed that price, went and set for the foreclosure and bid, and we were the only bidder. So we got it at a steal to the point to where there was 100,000 in net in equity that was purchased into. So we were able to buy this thing $100,000 underneath retail price. So instant equity sitting in the house, which was a fantastic deal for one purchase. And he was excited to the point to where he called me back after we left because, well, we bought it. We knew it was a good deal. Then we walked through the house and then we're like, oh, yes, because very, very, very little needs to be done on the inside. And so he got excited and he was sharing it. And this is what I mean. You need to have something that gives you burst of energy that really plays on the hyper side of your emotions. Emotions are good. They're there to enhance your life, but they're not there to control your life and help you make decisions. I believe that emotions are there just to remind us that we are human and to give us those extra punches of enjoyment. And when we have those emotions that are sad, those are those human feelings to remind us life is short. Life is important. We are to live it to its fullness. This is why you can't and should not be in something that day in, day out is boring. Matter of fact, while we were there at that foreclosure, another investor was there and I got a chance to meet him. And I said, what got you into this? And his response was, well, I was an accountant and I found myself not wanting to go in every single day. And he said, my wife had just got her realtor's license and we ended up buying one and liked it and just kind of grew from there. And this guy, my understanding is he's got quite a few rentals at this point, and you can tell he just lives the life that he wants to do. Like wherever he wants to go, he goes. There's times I'm sure that he is required to be disciplined, just like everyone should be in their life. But he has built a life that he enjoys now. But if he never would have recognized that that was a boring job to him, he never would have made the action towards buying that first house. So what actions are you going to make that's going to change your destiny for tomorrow? Because those actions have to be taken. There's a level of discipline and sacrifice for any growth to happen. Without that discipline and sacrifice, you are going to maintain and lose altitude of where you currently are. Put the discipline in, put the action, and move forward to what you want. Does it come in one day? Absolutely not. It takes a lifetime of building on top of action after action after action. But the reality is the momentum will increase so rapidly that you will be surprised how far you have moved in 12 months, in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You've got to take life and dissect it in chunks. Because if you do it day by day, it's too easy to feel like you've not gained any ground, because life is a roller coaster ride. You will have times of push. You will have times of rest. You will have times where it seems like you've dropped down, before you make massive gains. Life should be enjoyed through the journey. So where are you going next year? Where do you want to be? Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? And answer that. Write it down on paper. This is your action item I want you to take from this podcast. Write it down on paper and decide what you want your life to look like. And then I want you to dissect it and say, what is that going to require of me for my life to look like this next year? At the end of 2023 in December, I want to be at this place and I want to have this. If you're just starting out, there's going to be more sacrifice and less rest. If you're already on your journey and you just need to tweak a few things to accelerate your advantage in hitting that goal, then there will be a little more rest and not quite as much sacrifice. And I would like to encourage you to build in some disciplines and sacrifices in your life. Don't change your entire life unless you're just living in a place of shit right now, because it's much more burdensome. The resistant level is much higher when you do a complete 180. But if you will gradually start turning the ship, then it doesn't feel like you're going to tip over and lose everything. And so getting 1% better every single day is a better path than saying, all cold turkey, here's the change. So ask yourself again, where do you want to be at the end of next year? And what are those movements that you're going to make on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis? Find ways to increase revenue streams into your life. So many times we try to make a gamble with massive bets and we bet the entire farm. And that's great if you win, but the reality is it's a mathematical equation. It's a numbers game. We don't hit 100% of the time. You don't go to the casino and hit every time. So if you bet the entire house on one bet, your loss is way higher. It's much more massive if you lose, just like if you were to gain. But why put that kind of risk on yourself when you can sit there and do small bets on yourself, on your life? Then if you don't hit the mark a few times, it doesn't ruin you. It doesn't knock the breath out of you. You can keep moving because you have these other bets that are coming to fruition, that are making good for themselves. Life is a journey, and it can get complicated, feel very complicated at times, but I want you to simplify it by just saying, what do I like? What do I want my life to look like? On a daily basis, what will I be doing so that my life looks like that? So for me, on a daily basis, 4 days a week, I say I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock and I'm going to go to the gym and be at the gym by 5:30. I'm going to spend 30 minutes to an hour moving through a routine. I'm going to do upper body 2 days a week, lower body the other 2 days a week to complete my 4. After that, I'm going to come home and I'm going to lay on the couch and let my body decompress and rest for a moment. And I'm going to think about what I love, where I want to go, envision myself as it is supposed to be tomorrow. And I will sit there and I will communicate to myself out loud. And I will say, I am a rich person. I have a large network of high net worth individuals that wait for the opportunity to do business with me. Everything that I touch prospers. Everything that I touch grows. I help encourage and lead others to success. I have a loving wife and a great marriage that is full of laughter and enjoyment. I have loving kids where their father is present, and I lead them to success and greatness in life. I have friends and family that keep me hopeful and joyful. I have opportunity everywhere, and I take action on that opportunity. These are the type of things that I sit there and say to myself because these are positive affirmations that are telling me mentally I'm absorbing this in, is why I say it out loud, because I want to hear it. I want it to materialize in myself. And what happens is I start to take actions towards these speeches, these words of affirmation. So I find myself getting into masterminds, getting around high net worth individuals. I find myself making a point to do things that I know my wife's going to enjoy, to being more present when my kids are around, to getting on the floor and playing with them. You start to take action behind those things that you digest, and you need to make sure that you're speaking out what you want to be. But I put my routine together in the morning because I changed my environment to make sure that I am going to hit my mark. And I don't bet the entire house on one bet. So I've got my cleaning and disaster cleanup business over here, creating cash flow. I've got, finally, after several years, when I first started my disaster cleanup company, it was just a cleaning business. And I was working a zombie shift. Every night I was working to go do these commercial accounts and cleaning. And then the next day I would sit there and cat nap, and I would have my phone so that as it rang, I was able to answer and try to clear my throat so it didn't sound like I was sleeping, because I didn't want them to think they were calling a mom and pop shop. And I did this for a while until I could afford to hire someone else. These are the sacrifices and disciplines I'm telling you about when you first start out. But my sacrifices and disciplines are different now. Now my sacrifices and disciplines are making sure that I'm sitting down and writing some SOPs out if I realize that that's something we're lacking in, or learning a new software so that I can launch it to my company, to those key people, or making the investment on another rig so that we can expand and take on and manage more jobs at one time. It changes. It's more difficult in the beginning when you first start because your body's going to cry out because of the pain you stuck it in. But as you begin to grow, things get easier. But so many people divert and derail before they actually get momentum behind them. Get started and get momentum behind you. And then the economy of scale comes into play, and you can actually see things grow with less effort, because now you are big enough and full enough to pour out to a team. But if you never start to fill yourself up, you will not have a level of overflow so that you can pour out to others on your team, and that team can help carry the weight and the burden. If you're pushing the ball up the hill by yourself, it will almost always crush you. This is why before you get to higher elevations, you have to have a team behind you. And you will not grow to great heights without having a team behind you. This is why you have to build yourself up. Go through the pain and the suffering, that discipline, that sacrifice right now, so that you can get some momentum, and then you can start to build teams behind you. So again, what are you going to write down on what I like and what I want my life to be like in 2023 by the time it's done? And what are those daily actions that's going to get you there? Just do the math. If you sit there and you say, I want to have $1 million, then divide that by 12 months. Also, take that million and divide it by 52 weeks. Now you know what your mark is each week. And if you miss that mark, it has to carry over to the other weeks. And you can divide it evenly over the remaining weeks. But now you know what number you need to hit. Now you can say, okay, do I have the right product? Do I have the right service to be able to hit this weekly revenue number? And do I have my structure correct so that I can have the profit margins out of this revenue? Use your brain power, because this up here, your brain, is what's going to make you money. Working hard is a lie. Working hard will not get you to wealth. Working hard only allows you to work hard and wear your body out. But working smart is where you gain wealth, because working smart is having knowledge and resources. And resources, the biggest and best one is going to be your network, your team. Until next time, I want you to live in success, and let's grow together. If you're looking for a community to plug in, check out me and Kevin Marin on Blue Collar Millionaire Facebook group. We've got some exciting stuff going on there, and it is straight value every single day that you can gather so that you can start to grow your revenue streams. Build the lifestyle that you want to build.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.